Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jae Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are thrilled to have James Jeffrey, the owner and lead design engineer of Radar BI. James brings over a decade of experience in creative data visualization with expertise in tools like Tableau, Power BI, and Apache Superset. Based in New York, Radar BI is transforming how businesses leverage data through services like dashboard diagnostics, templated reporting, and scalable analytics solutions. Founded to empower businesses at every stage of their data journey, Radar BI is making analytics accessible and impactful. We'll be exploring James's founding journey, how his business solves critical data challenges, and his vision for scaling its innovative venture. So with that being said, let's dive right in. James, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Absolute pleasure to have you on the show, man. I really can't wait to get in. This is pretty incredible stuff you're doing. So take us back to the beginning for our listeners here, James. What specific problem in the data analytics landscape really inspired you to start Radar BI?
Yeah, I might not have the typical journey of a founder. And I don't know if there's one challenge per se when it comes to data visualization, because it could be applied to any industry. It's pretty industry agnostic.
Yeah.
But when I was freelancing for a while, I started to notice via Upwork and other marketplaces where freelancers typically find their work that the clients would have generic asks around data visualization and would want more than they really needed. So I saw a bit of a kind of lack of awareness on the client side of what they actually needed versus what they thought they needed and what they wanted. So I started to hone in on that and think about what services often meet the needs of a client rather than trying to fulfill every hope and dream of what a dashboard could do, which often leads to, a bad user experience and often
Absolutely.
people going back to the thing they were doing before, even if it takes more time or is more annoying. But the devil, so that's how I started to switch the mindset.
I love it. I love it. With that, I definitely want to understand a bit more, especially for our listeners who maybe aren't so well versed on this side of things. Walk us through really how Radar BI is generating revenue today. As far as your core offer, what are you bringing to the table for your clients? I know you have the dashboard diagnostics, custom analytics
Mhm.
solutions. Walk us through all of those core offers you have and how it's structured and who is your ideal client that you like to work with, James?
Yeah, it's been an evolution on the products and services side, but I've really honed in on three. The first being fractional business intelligence. I think a lot of people will see on LinkedIn the kind of new trend towards fractional CFOs, fractional this role, right? Fractional BI, there's often a request from someone higher up at a company to someone lower saying, hey, we got data. We want to start using Power BI and build some reporting, getting it out of Excel and what we've been doing. But they don't have someone with that skill set in their company. They don't want to hire someone full time to fill this need that may not grow into something bigger. And the person that's asked to do this doesn't want to bang their head against the wall for a weekend straight learning a new software. So fractional BI really offers myself and my team to come in and be that expert on business intelligence, get them up and running very quickly, and be that expertise so they don't have to think about, are we doing this the right way? Is this the right software for us? That's one of the main services. Like you said, dashboard diagnostics really focuses on design and user interface and user experience design of dashboards to increase user engagement, right? Big problem clients have is low user engagement. These dashboards sit on a shelf.
Yep.
And again, no one's actually interacting with them. So being able to take content people have built with their teams, review the design and improve the user interface, improve the user experience, make it intuitive, relevant, answering business questions they actually care about so that they can increase that engagement level and make the reporting a worthy investment. And then the third one is around embedded analytics and web portals that are white labeled, branded for the client that take the reports out of Microsoft space or Tableau space and embeds it in what is essentially an extension of a client's platform. Same look and feel, and a small detail, but they don't have to explain to their clients, we're using Tableau, we're using Power BI. No, here's a login. It's a part of our website,
Yep.
and it's something we offer in addition to their main service, which is something I've learned data visualization is often a complementary service to what a company is doing. It's
Right.
reporting on their main platform. It's improving the operations on the internal side, having it look and feel as if it's part of that primary offering is really important to, especially clients they're licensing content to.
I love it. I love that. With that said, clearly you have a nice sophisticated offer here and a need. Is it something that you could work with any business on this side of things, or are there
Oh
specific?
yeah. Yeah, I've had clients in the construction business, healthcare nonprofits, traditional finance work. It really runs the gamut. Again, if you have data and you want to put it to use, I could work with you, right? We can figure out what you need. The biggest use cases I've seen with my clients where the content and the dashboards and the reports we build have high engagement, get used for years on end,
Yeah.
are for, like I said, companies that have a primary offering, but they can't really communicate that offering's value to the clients that pay them. So we
Right.
create reports and visualizations that communicate that value so that a client who gets paid a ton of money 6 months in can say, hey, look at the progress we've made. A good example is one of my clients who they scrub unauthorized listings from Amazon, Walmart for big brands. But it's tough to say, hey, this is how well we're doing. We're scrubbing 80% of unauthorized listings. So we've built a suite of reports that their clients now have access to, and they're able to see, oh, wow, my money is being put to use. So
Yes.
that's a huge use case. And then another big use case for clients are often when they're trying to raise funds, they need to be able to communicate the value of their early stage startup and use the data they have to go into partnership meetings, to go into VC meetings, and be able to have something that looks good, it's interactive, brings those value points and insights into the front of their audience. So that's another huge one. I think, especially in the first couple of years of a new company, is being able to say, hey, it's worth continuing what we're doing because
Right.
the data proves it out. So yeah.
Cool. Very cool on that front. What do you attest to the acquisition side as far as what's working best there? Walk us through those channels that you're seeing be most effective for you, whether it is ads that you're running or the social media or referrals. As clearly there's a lot of relationship-based work that's going on here. So walk us through that side. What's working best?
Yeah, it's been an evolution. I'm working with my chief of staff, Shelly, now to really figure that out. It's a lot of throwing stuff up on the wall and see what sticks. But the primary goal is to move off of Upwork and Catalant, those freelance marketplaces where you keep the lights on. It's always good to get work from there, build relationships from there, from small projects and grow them into big ones. But driving traffic towards the website via our monthly newsletter, which talks about our products and services, projects we've been working on, new things we've built that we think are cool and want people to know about. We
Yeah.
have a weekly blog that shows off what we're building and working on, our thoughts on the industry, whether it's software versus software, Tableau versus Power BI, or frameworks we use when designing. How do you categorize a user that is going to be in front of the dashboard, right? Thinking about frameworks to better understand the people you're building stuff for. So again, just trying to come up with ways that when we post on LinkedIn, when we post on the site, it stands out. I think the biggest issue we run into right now is breaking through the noise. There's a ton of BI companies, there's a ton of freelancers and great companies that have a big presence, small presence. There's just a lot of content out there.
Yeah.
So being able to stand out with the way you think about it and the way you choose to design a user experience that sticks to traditional and proven practice, but also stands out because it has your own flavor of we've found this to work and that's why we include it. And then some lead generation forms for the dashboarding diagnostic design service. We have a great survey, 21 questions that gives our folks a report card on their dashboard very quickly. They can score them on 7 key categories that say, hey, this is working, this is not, based on your input and understanding of why you built this and how you built it. You may need to work on your user interface when it comes to chart selection, or you may need to work on your user experience when it comes through the user going click by click. So we give them a very quick report card with, hey, here are your reds, work on these immediately. This is where you're excelling. So a lot of throwing stuff up on the wall, but again, it's just trying to be original in a space that is a bit flooded with a lot of ideas and a lot of noise sometimes. Good noise in general.
So it sounds like a big piece for you now is really breaking through to scale, right? And having a lever that you can pull that is going to bring in more predictable leads, have quality leads coming in. That sounds like it's the next piece for you. So obviously getting into more ads and that social media, continuing to push there. So obviously working towards that. So with that sales process side, knowing that the acquisition is still something that you guys are working on, what is the sales process? You have a sales team, marketing team. I know you have, it sounds like you have help on the marketing side. What does that overall process look like? Are you running the sales yourself, James?
Yeah, I'm running the sales myself, and Shelly too. She's been great for sourcing leads and sourcing conversations. I think the next evolution is going to be some basic ads that can get us out there,
Yeah.
possibly social media. But again, in this space, we're testing and trying to find out, are our ideal clients actually looking for this on social media? Our ideal clients are in that kind of fourth stage where they've been thinking about the problem they have. They've done a little bit of light research. Now they're at a point where they're about to choose a software. So they're often at that buying stage. When I talk to someone, they know they want to do this work. It's just a matter of feeling comfortable that they can move forward in the right direction. So when I get someone on the phone, it's not a hard sell because they're already there wanting to do it or being told they have to do it or wanting to raise more funds to keep doing what they're doing. When we get on the phone, it's pretty straightforward and they're happy to engage if we hit it off. But trying to get in the mindset of that person at that stage where they're looking is what we're trying to figure out. And I don't know if that's social media, but definitely some basic ads on LinkedIn in the communities that draw a lot of traffic. There are some organizations and some kind of think tanks, for lack of a better word, that put out a ton of great content. And I know that's where I used to go
Yeah.
for advice and trying to figure out where to take my own career. So I know people who are searching for this type of work to be done are probably going there too.
In those groups. Absolutely. Another big thing there is, again, building up on that team as well, right? As you have that lever to pull, get more consistency in there, then adding some more setters and closers, building out that
Exactly.
team. So continuously to scale and grow. So with that there right now, being that those are your bigger bottlenecks, right? That consistent quality lead gen and the sales team building that side out. What does the rest of the year look like for you? Paint us that picture as far as your top priorities for the rest of 2025. Going into 2026, you're already seeing success, and now these next steps for scale are in play for you. Walk us through what that picture is.
Yeah, for the rest of the year, the goal is to have retainer contracts through that fractional BI route consistently. We just signed a big 3-month contract with a large consumer goods company, and that's for 3 months with possibilities for extension. So the goal for this year is to, on that kind of offering, to have no breaks, a consistent retainer project that has me embedded within a team doing high quality work for a higher rate and prioritizing that work. Having a consistent inflow of people going to our dashboard diagnostic service because that is often easier and more straightforward work that takes less intense data discovery and embedding myself within a team to get to know their environment and their database and actually work with multiple parts of the business. That work can be turned around pretty quickly, and it is often a good way to scale towards more retainer work, but and build relationships in general. And then right now it's a more conservative goal, but to have 2 sales of the embedded analytics platform a quarter, because that is a standalone product that takes probably a day's worth of work to get set up for a client. But once they're up and running, they're up and running. So having that monthly subscription or that annual purchase of the product itself is huge. So having a conservative, again, 2 sales of that per quarter. And I think, again, that biggest roadblock right now is doing all the sales myself and having Shelly help out. Hopefully by the end of the year, having someone subcontracted to do sales full on, or at least for a decent amount of hours a month to have more by next year, more sales of that product,
Yeah.
3, 4 per month. Yeah, it's the goal. Consistent retainer work, incoming dashboard design services, and consistent sales quarter to quarter on the product.
Love it. I love it. And just putting yourself in that CEO founder role so you can do that more on the fulfillment side and
Yeah,
what's
exactly.
on that front. Absolutely. So one more question for you, James, on this front before I take us into the lightning round to wrap up the show. And I would love to hear from you is how do you see the BI industry evolving in the coming years, especially with your tech forward approach and the tools that you're utilizing? What are you doing to position Radar BI at the forefront of that evolution that you're seeing?
Yeah, it's interesting. With AI, there's a lot of thought around that and a lot of change. I was at the Tableau conference earlier this year out in San Diego,
Yeah.
and their big push is agentic AI,
Mm.
agentic artificial intelligence, agent-based AI. And we're already seeing some services being provided, Tableau Pulse being one that can generate some basic charts with very specific data inputs, but basic charts with summarized insights. So when it comes to business intelligence, I see it splitting into two worlds.
Yeah.
One being that agentic AI, agent-based prompting of raw data, which is only going to get better and better, and the quick building of executive level dashboarding, I think. Very consumable metrics, very consumable insights for that executive audience. And again, audience is huge in this space because building something for an analyst versus an executive persona is very different. So I see the BI changing as of AI and splitting into that consumable data and metric world where it's going to be pretty drag and drop and I think prompt based. And a lot of use is going to be at the higher levels of organizations that route. There's
Yeah.
still always going to be, I think, a developer side of the BI world where folks like me and a lot of my colleagues that I've worked with and everyone at the Tableau conference, frankly, that has been working in, say, Tableau for 10 years is going to continue to live in. And that's where you're building story-based reports and dashboards that AI can't quite do. Understanding the business questions that are being asked, weaving those into a story for a specific person, being able to create infographics that are more creative and artistic, especially when it comes to raising money, I think, and certain needs like that. There's just it's a different skill set. And I don't think AI is there. And I don't think it'll take over the way it will for consumable metrics in the other
Right.
world. So I'm just becoming aware of that because I'm not afraid of AI in that sense.
Yeah.
And in terms of how it's evolving, I'm continuing to learn about AI and skill up on it because it's not something you could turn the lights on in 16 months, 18 months. You can't just say, oh, I want to do AI now. I need to be continually learning, and our organization needs to continue to learn that so that in 12 months, in 24 months, we have those skills. Yeah, it's evolving in that way, I think, for the better. And it's just going to be a different landscape in a year from now. And
Yeah.
my services may include one we're thinking about now, which is BI plus AI. So if you're going that consumable metric route, let's break that off from the dashboarding world and provide it as a secondary service for the embedded analytics portion as well. You can have embedded analytics for a creative dashboard or for consumable analytics, right? So again, it's just going to be very use case specific, very persona specific, and making sure we evolve our ideal client profile to account for that is going to be key.
I love it. I love it. And then just one last question here, James, to wrap up the show for our listeners. And that's going to be on the advice side. Being that the intelligence that you have in the space is incredible and the drive that you have and the want to succeed and grow and scale, what type of advice can you give to our listeners right now who are other founders and entrepreneurs, either just starting out or in the middle of their journey? What can you offer them before we wrap up the show today, James?
Yeah, I'm going to give advice specifically for freelancers who are in like the first to sixth year of doing that because I was freelancing for 6 years and I feel like I could have moved quicker and evolved quicker. I found over 6 years, every 2 years, I'd hit a kind of plateau. First 2 years, you're just figuring out, oh, this is Upwork. This is Catalant. Okay, let me build a profile. Let me win projects, which takes time. Let me build a presence. And you'll see in those first 2 years, the scales tip from proposing to projects to getting requests to propose for projects. In 2 years, you're like, great, I have a presence. I'm really figuring this out. As you do that for 2 years, I started to notice, oh, wow, I can afford an apartment with this. Like I'm making good money. I don't have to go back to Deloitte where I was before necessarily. And that's when I was like, okay, I need to create an LLC. You hit a certain mark, $100,000 a year, you should build the business,
Yeah.
start an LLC, start an S corp, and if you get to that 100,000 quicker, do it quicker. So that was my kind of fourth year plateau. Was like I only have so many hours in the day to freelance. I got to stop trading hours for money in some way, and I got to save on taxes. So flipping the fourth year plateau into a business, and 6 years in, and that sixth year plateau has been like, okay, I need to brand better. I need to niche down to products and services and make a hard push to get off Upwork with a business presence and just have a business presence. So
Yes.
that freelance to business owner mindset is a tough shift. It took me 6 years, hitting three different plateaus. But if you're in freelancing right now and you're making some money and you think you want to continue down that route, have that trajectory in mind. And if you can move quicker on it, save yourself 3 years, right? You may be able to do this year after year and make those three jumps quickly. And then have that knowledge that the business owner mindset, for me at least, was tough to jump into after freelancing for so long. Saying I'm an owner of a business, even that took some time getting used to. So in that 6th year of the business, start your website, build out your own interactive portfolio. Don't rely on these sites to have that portfolio for you, and start posting on LinkedIn more, honestly, as a first step. Just start getting your presence out there, getting what is in your head and how you think about data visualization out there in the world. And you'll find that it's a very welcoming community of people. There's no, that looks horrible. It's very, especially if you go to start going to conferences like I have in the last few years, it's very, yeah, it's a great community in the freelancing data visualization world, at least in the businesses that I've run into in the data visualization space. But I think that journey is any freelancer trading hours for money. You got to switch that mindset at some point and think about products and services and the brand.
Love it. I love that. With that right there, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode here of Founders Future. James, truly can't thank you enough. An honor and a pleasure having you come on the show today, sharing that journey and your insights. And as I mentioned, clear as day, you got that mindset, the drive, the intelligence. You're going to go and do some big things. So truly, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also check out Radar BI at radarbi.com for their free dashboard design diagnostic, and follow James on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/James D. Jeffrey. And for more insights and resources, you can visit us here at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.